Dating and relationships have never been harder and more complicated. Paradoxically enough, the sky is raining with dating apps and coaching, and couples therapy is booming. In an attempt to provide a simple guide that'll walk you through finding a date all the way to happily married with grandchildren, if you'd like that, behavioral scientist, dating coach, and director of relationship science at the dating app, Hinge, Logan Ury wrote the book, How to Not Die Alone. If you're not that big on reading, I made this video for you as I've condensed all the value and insights of the book inside. So no matter what stage of life and relationship you're in, watching this video till the end will spare you the time and effort. Enjoy. So, first things first. Let's say you're at stage 1, a free agent looking to date. What's the first step you should take? Ury points out that you must know yourself first. Before you even look for a date, you must know what kind of person are you. How is your own behavior stopping you from finding true love? To do that, it's simple. You need to 1. Notice your dating pattern, and 2. Notice your attachment style. 1. There are 3 unhelpful patterns that people fall into when looking for love. We've got the optimizers, romanticizers, or fairy tale chasers, and hesitators, or delayers. So what about each pattern, why it leads to unhappiness, and how to prevent your pattern from sabotaging your dating life? Ury explains that if you're an optimizer, you want to be 100% sure you've made the right decision, so you do as much research as possible before choosing anything. Unfortunately, you'll date several people but struggle to commit to someone because you're worried about missing out on someone better. And even if you do commit, you'll torture yourself wondering if you made the right decision. Instead, the author recommends that optimizers learn to satisfice. Find and commit to the person who meets your standards, even if they aren't perfect. Doing so will make you happier for 2 main reasons. First, you'll reduce the stress of optimizing during the selection process, because you'll have clear standards by which to evaluate your choices. Second, by fully committing to your partner, you'll avoid the agony of wondering whether you made the right choice because of a neurological phenomenon known as rationalization. Whereas if you were the romanticizer type, you approach dating with an attitude that your relationship's happiness depends on whom you're dating. Obviously, that's an unhealthy way of approaching dating. Notably, fairy tale chasers tend to envision their ideal soulmate, so when dating, they may overlook great candidates who don't exactly match this ideal. Additionally, fairy tale chasers believe that finding a suitable partner guarantees a problem-free relationship. So when their relationship inevitably hits a rough patch, they assume they're with the wrong person and start to look for someone else, beginning the cycle all over. Instead, a fairy tale chaser, secretly all of us, should shift their attitude and develop a mindset that a happy relationship depends on how hard you work at it. With this mindset, you'll control your expectations regarding what your soulmate is like, and thus grow more open to dating great people who don't match your fantasy. But perhaps you're the delayer or hesitator type. This means you want to date but don't take any steps toward finding a long-term partner because you don't feel confident dating. You'll insist that you'll start dating when X happens, whether X is financial stability or a better haircut. Delayers fail in the long run because they miss out on 2 big learning opportunities that dating offers, from communication skills to knowing what you actually want in a partner. So if you're a delayer, Ury recommends that you just start dating. This may be difficult since humans suffer from what behavioral scientists call an intention-action gap, a disconnect between what we want to do and what we do in reality. One main strategy to overcome this disconnect is to set a deadline to start dating, one that's short enough to spur you into action, but far enough away that you can prepare. The book advises setting a deadline of 3 weeks ahead. Now that you've noticed and worked on your dating pattern, you'll need to observe and grasp your attachment style to fully understand yourself before you actually date. So let's see, what kind of partner are you? 2. The author explains that people fall into one of 3 attachment styles, which are the beliefs and behaviors that determine how you function in intimate relationships. Anxious attachers are preoccupied with making their relationship solid and constantly seek reassurance from their partner. Avoidant attachers don't trust their partner shares the same level of love and intimacy back, so they strive to maintain emotional distance from their partner. while secure attachers are nurturing, responsive, and comfortable with intimacy. If you're an anxious or avoidant attacher, the book recommends 2 strategies to ensure that your attachment style doesn't sabotage your dating life. First, date secure attachers, who are better able to meet your intimacy needs. Second, practice managing your knee-jerk reactions in pursuit of happiness. Instead of panicking, anxious attachers should learn productive ways to soothe their nerves when their partners don't provide immediate reassurance. And instead of withdrawing, avoidant attachers should learn to communicate when they want emotional distance. Now for the second step, how to find your ideal partner. According to the author, many people struggle to look for the right qualities in a long-term partner. This happens for 2 reasons. First, we tend to prioritize immediate benefits over future benefits. Second, we tend to assume that whatever gets our attention is more important than what doesn't. When dating, these tendencies lead us to prioritize qualities that don't indicate long-term compatibility. So, for example, how physically attracted you are to someone is a terrible measure of compatibility. So what should you be looking for? Ury recommends focusing on these 3 criteria for long-term relationship success. 1. Look for someone nice and even-tempered, both qualities that researchers have found are highly predictive of long-term relationship success. Nice people genuinely treat all people well. Service workers are a good example. Even-tempered people respond with grace, even when they're stressed. 2. Look for someone with whom you can get through the hard times. Such a person will have a growth mindset, so they're prepared to fight through challenges, both in their relationship and in their own lives. This includes being good at fighting with you. Your arguments should be productive and not instill fears about the health of your relationship. Someone good at fighting will have 2 main characteristics. First, they'll find a healthy way of dealing with the unsolvable conflicts that make up most couples' arguments, like how often one partner wants to spend time with their friends. Second, they'll actively try to diffuse the tension during fights, such as by apologizing when they're wrong. 3. Look for someone who has a complementary personality to yours. Many of us assume we'll be happy with someone exactly like us, but research doesn't support this finding. Rather, find someone who helps you be your best self. For example, if you're set in your ways, someone who's adventurous might pull you out of your shell and help you try new things. The extroverted partner might also enjoy talking to the kids' teachers, while an introverted partner might be better at helping with the kids' math homework. Now that you know what to look for, the author tells us how to meet such people in a non-creepy way, If you're old school and still like to meet people offline, then kudos to you, and we should put you in a museum. And here's what you should do. Ury recommends 2 strategies. 1. Attend events that facilitate connections, focusing on enjoyable activities like local meetups, volunteering, or athletic leagues. Go alone to be approachable. Introduce yourself to at least one person and exchange contact information with someone you like. 2. Embrace blind dates by seeking help from connections who know the type of person you're looking for. Provide good photographs, go on the date, and offer feedback to improve future matchups. But, since we're in the digital age, meeting people online is the trend. So here's what you should do. To meet someone online, Ury recommends 3 strategies. First, keep an open mind when swiping. Reconsider and readjust your filters, and don't reject someone based on a single trait. Why? The author explains that apps encourage you to judge people based on limited information and arbitrary criteria. But in real life, we constantly meet people who challenge our initial assumptions about what we want in a partner. For example, you might decide you never want to date a vegetarian because you think they're all hippies, but then you meet someone great who's a vegetarian for health reasons. So by judging people too harshly, you may be filtering out a potentially great partner. Second, limit the number of people you date. Focus on quality connections by dating fewer individuals simultaneously. Third, present yourself well. Choose accurate and appealing photos with input from friends, and create a profile that sparks conversation with specific details. For example, instead of writing, "I like books," list your top 5 books. So now let's say you met someone interesting. The date is on, and the candles are lit. The next step would be how to be a great date, no matter the outcome. Ury recommends that you do 3 things. First, set realistic but positive expectations. You must be realistic because too many of us expect too much from our first date. Instant connections are rare. Arranged marriages show love can grow with a positive attitude. Second, Ury suggests that you design a great first date for natural connections. Engage in creative activities to assess the qualities you seek. For example, if you take a pottery class and your date can't follow the instructor, do they continue trying anyway, indicating a growth mindset? Third, don't judge harshly. Go on a second date. Focus on strengths, allow time for connection development, and discover positive qualities that outweigh flaws. Now that you've learned how to meet great people and date so that you find a connection, you'll find yourself in a relationship. How are you going to manage it? As Ury points out, relationships are full of decisions, from deciding whether to date officially to deciding whether to get married. Behavioral scientists refer to these landmark changes as decision points. There are two ways you can approach these decision points. You can reactively slide into the next stage without giving it serious consideration. Or you might think more deeply and actively choose, or decide to move into the next stage. The author recommends you become a decider because they tend to have happier marriages. Specifically, you should make a decision at the following transitions: defining the relationship, cohabitating, and getting married. To define the relationship, you must simply discuss your expectations for the relationship when you want to be exclusive. Exposing your feelings can be scary, but making your wishes clear will save you potential heartbreak long-term, if your desired partner doesn't see you as long-term material. Next, when you decide to move in together, Ury recommends that you seriously discuss and evaluate whether you want to cohabitate. People who move in together pre-marriage are more likely to get divorced, which relationship researchers theorize is because cohabitation makes splitting up harder. When a breakup involves someone moving out, it's easier to ignore the nagging feeling in the back of your mind that you're with the wrong person and slide into your horrible life instead. If things go well, we're now looking at marriage. How can you ensure that you actively choose to get married? 1. Examine needs and wants, and openly discuss history and expectations with your partner to avoid assumptions. 2. Have dedicated nights to discuss important topics. A. Learn about each other's history. B. Discuss current relationship improvements and financial situation. And C. Share future expectations on career goals and raising children. 3. It's okay if expectations don't perfectly align. The key is open communication and developing plans to address any differences. Now for the juicy part, how to live happily ever after. The key is to build a relationship that can grow with you. She explains that most people recognize that they've changed a lot in the past, but they don't expect to change a lot in the future. But in reality, you and your partner will probably change just as much in the future as you did in the past. Therefore, it's critical to ensure that your relationship evolves too. The author recommends 2 techniques for ensuring that your relationship adapts to your changing needs as the years go by. First, write a relationship agreement, or a contract. In it, articulate your relationship values and how you'll express them. Revisit this agreement regularly. Second, schedule a weekly meeting and make it a safe space in which you can communicate things with your partner that might be otherwise uncomfortable or brushed aside. By doing so, you maintain your bond and ensure that small problems don't blow up into bigger issues because you haven't dealt with them. Finally, Logan Ury shares tips on how to end a relationship before it becomes a tragedy, stating 2 reasons for relationship struggles: clinging to invested time or chasing new highs. To end the relationship the right way, make a plan. Prepare what to say. Be compassionate without specifics to prevent obsession. Schedule a time and limit the conversation to avoid unnecessary prolonging. Recover from the heartbreak by framing it positively. Write a breakup diary to focus on the benefits. Engage in activities you missed out on. As we all know, life is relationships, and how happy your life is depends on how happy those relationships are, especially the one with yourself. I hope you can implement some of the insights from today's book in your own relationship and nurture your relationship with this channel by clicking the like button and subscribing so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and please check out our other videos on the screen.